Whoa there, Space Cowboy. Brokeback Bebop is a podcast with explicit content intended only for mature bounty hunters. Listener discretion is advised. Listen to all 40 steamy sessions of the show right now by supporting Brokeback Bebop at patreon.com/can'tdisappointpodcast.
I think it's time to blow this scene. Get everybody in the stuff together. Okay.
3, 2, 1. Let's jam.
Jesus.
Come on, big money. Mama needs a new pair of undies. Oh yeah, new slippies on my toes. Come on, big money, no whammies.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Brokeback Bebop. Thank you for being here to go through the world of Cowboy Bebop with us. We're back for a third episode, everyone. I'm Zach.
I'm Steven.
And welcome to the show. Steven, how you doing, man?
I'm great. I'm happy to be here. Happy to be talking about this show. Happy to...
I just totally unplugged my headphones. I can't hear shit you're saying.
Nice.
Vamp for me.
Yeah.
We don't edit shit out of this one. Vamp for me.
All right. What do you do when you're at a casino and a woman in an impossible set of clothing walks in? You have an adventure.
All right. Well, welcome to the program, everyone. We've glad you made it. Glad you made it. Thanks for being a patron. I hope you're watching through this show with us. I think that'd be cool to have other people going through it with us. I asked how you were doing. What's new in your life? You got anything cool going on at this hour?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Just the same shit, different day.
What type of dancing have you been doing the most recently?
Lately, let's see. I've been teaching a lot of bachata, waltz.
Horchata? I'm not familiar.
Almost.
Isn't that like a rice milk drink?
Yeah. And
what
you
is
just
that?
pour it over yourself and
what
roll
was it
around.
called? Pudchata?
Bachata with a B.
Bachata. What is it?
Yeah. It's actually my favorite dance. It's a Latin dance.
I think I've
really
heard you say that
socially.
before.
Yeah.
But what is it?
Give
Give me a little taste. Let's see it.
I gotcha. I'll hit you with it right here. Dun, ba, ba, You
So
can probably see my hips.
it's a lot of hips and tips.
It is. You can roll with it. All sorts of things.
It's hard to. It doesn't look like you're doing much, but humping the air from this perspective.
No, that's it.
So it's a very like you and I are having sex now type dance.
Yeah, it can be. It's also the dance I do with my grandma though, so it really has a wide spectrum.
Yikes. Oh man. You know what, Steven? That's a perfect segue. You know what I had the thought the other day? I know I am often our banter back and forth is quite rude, but I feel like it's time for me to throw some kudos and admiration your way.
Wow.
I am very thankful for what we have built with this little thing here together. And
Yeah.
I'm very grateful and don't think that I don't notice all that you bring to it. You bring a lot to it. And I'm still glad all the time that I get to do this with you. And even though
buddy.
we totally, especially now, like a year and a half in, we totally like go through the motions kind of. We totally like, I think we jab at each other a little bit more than we might have when we started. But none of that shit matters. I love doing this and I love doing it with you.
Yeah, it's so much fun. I love it, buddy. Thank you for all that you do for the show as well.
Thanks.
We would have never secured that loan with
That's
my
what I was
black ass.
milking for. Could you take that a little further? What else? Could you?
What exactly do you like that I do?
Yeah, what exactly about me? Tell me I'm special. That was all for you to say good stuff about me. Let's move into what we're talking about. Before we get into the episode, I want to bring up the concept of casinos and gambling for a moment. We're men of 24 and 25, so being able to go to a casino is something new for us. I still have never stepped foot in a casino. Have you been to a casino?
I have. Whenever I compete in Vegas, the competition is held at a casino. So I've been to a lot of the Vegas casinos. I went
Like,
more
what are
last
some of
time.
the biggest ones? Some of the big ones that you went to? That I might know
The
by name.
Bellagio.
That's
I've said it's
exactly
the
what I
Fountain.
was thinking.
That's
Bellagio is the first
I love
name
the
that came to
Fountain.
mind.
The Fountain in the Bellagio is like my favorite thing in all of Las Vegas. It's like the really huge one that they play at the end of like Ocean's 11 always with like the
Okay.
whole like fountain show, and they always
Sure,
play a song
sure.
with it, and then they like time it like to the song. It's really cool. I cried the first time I saw it. It was beautiful. I'm pretty sure it was fucking My Heart Will Go On was playing, and it really got me.
That's okay. I didn't do it on our trip, but for the life of me, and I never know why, every time that Lily and I have gone to like Universal or Disney World or something, as we're leaving, I like get a little misty-eyed the last day. Not in like a I want to stay kind of way, but I'm just like taking it all in like the last moments, and I get like a little misty-eyed.
I
don't know why.
cried
It's
during the
stupid.
Avatar ride.
Oh, sure. I get that. I don't know if I think you told me that. I definitely didn't see you cry.
Yeah, I literally cried. I was like,
I'm there.
yeah.
Well, back to casinos.
Casinos. So Bellagio's really cool. I stayed at Caesars, which was really cool.
Well, I want to ask, because I know that you're a media guy as much as I am, and in Vegas, and casinos in general, because they kind of give you that vibe of Vegas, but Vegas especially, do you go in like Spike does, in where you feel like the center of it, and you're like, I've got to go do roulette, and I've got to do like the table games?
Here's what I'll say. Vegas is expensive if you want to play table games.
Yeah.
I have played one. What did I do? Was it roulette? I like played
I'm sure
one
it's incredibly
bet
expensive.
of blackjack one time the first time I went, and it was like $10 minimum. And I was
Okay.
like especially broke at that time, and I was like, well, no,
You weren't
thanks.
going there to gamble. You were there for work.
And last time when I went, I was like, well, I'd rather spend money on doing things with Danny and like drinks and stuff. And she's not a big gambler. And I consider myself pretty good at like Texas Hold'em. I like the roulette machines. Those are fun. When I was there one time, I spent like an hour and a half at a roulette machine, and that was fun. I like put in $20, and I think I left with like $20. I just like kept playing because I always just play till I lose whatever money I have, because that's what's fun for me. Not
Yeah.
actually like trying to win something. I just
Yeah.
like pressing the button and watching the pretty lights. So
That's what I've said to Lily, because neither of us have been at all, like ever. And I feel like we should go once to go. And we should like plan it as an evening and maybe take big money, like $200 or something.
yeah,
to
and just
gamble.
like plan to spend it on entertainment.
And then like once we've played $200 worth, we'll leave with either what we have or don't have.
That's a great
But
idea.
I'm sure that's easier said than done. Is it really at all casinos that like the drinks are free flowing?
Kind of, yeah. If you're sitting and playing,
Yeah. So if you're just like at a table or like walking around, they don't bring you more drinks. But if you're sitting at a game, I mean,
Kind of.
table, I mean like hanging out, not at a table game.
well, if you're at a thing and you like they like ask you want a drink, and they'll bring you as many drinks as you want for free as long as you're gambling.
Yeah.
But you're also like, it's rude to not tip the person. So
Well, sure, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
I never do it because I feel like, I don't know, I'm never gonna be at one machine long enough to do that. But yeah, but it
Not
is a
even
thing.
like while you're playing your game, if they come up to you and like, would you like a drink? You don't get to the first drink moment.
No.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, let's move into it. We're talking about episode 3.
You want to know something cool about casinos, though, Zach?
Yeah, I do.
that you'll find cool, just because I know we both are very aware of the attractive nature of smoking a cigarette, especially in like media and how it's portrayed and things like that. You can smoke in Vegas casinos, and that's like the only place you can smoke inside that I ever encounter.
Well, and here you can smoke inside bars.
Oh, really? I don't
Yeah.
think you can in Chicago anymore.
Not every bar. I think it's kind of up to the bar, but there are at least 2
Sure.
or 3. Like the bar that Lily and we don't go to a bar very often, but the bar that we do go to, you can smoke there.
Wow. Well, never mind.
But there aren't many places. It feels like that when we go to those bars. And I don't smoke cigarettes, but
Well,
like,
and here's
I've
something
dabbled in the
about
past.
Vegas casinos. People pretty freely smoke weed, not just vaporizing. Like they actually, I've seen people like smoke blunts inside a casino, and it was a pretty cool.
Like I'll take a
thing.
vape
So I was
into
like,
a bar,
holy
but
shit.
I wouldn't. Yeah, that's nuts. The only
Yeah.
time I feel
I
that-
pretty freely will vape in a casino.
Man, this Brokeback Bebop is where you get all the
All the
dirty
juicy
details.
deets.
No, the only place I'll like openly smoke is like a concert.
Sure.
But even then, the last concert that I went to, I felt a little nervous doing it because I've never been more aware of how long it takes to smoke a joint.
Yeah.
And I felt like every time I blew smoke, that it was just going in the people's faces. And I saw people throughout the venue smoking, but no one like around us. And I felt like I was being a nuisance. And I just felt kind of anxious about it. But anyway, Cowboy Bebop episode 3 is Honky Tonk Women, which is actually a translation error because in Japanese it's Honky Tonk Woman because the woman is Faye Valentine. But in translation, it's Honky Tonk Women. This episode was storyboarded by Kazuki Akane. It was directed by Kunihiro Mori, and it was written by Ryota Yamaguchi. And how do you the woman who is always on this list? Kiko? Is it Kiko? Or
what are the letters?
Keiko.
Keiko.
Keiko Nobumoto.
In Japanese, you pronounce every vowel.
Interesting. Okay. And the episode originally aired in Japan on April 3rd, 1998, and in the U.S. on September 10th, 2001. September 10th, 2001.
Wow. Oh, shit, yeah.
9/10.
Nice.
Let's get into some trivia before we
high
get deep
hopes
into
that day.
things, even though we've already gotten pretty deep into it. I've got 3 questions that I wrote down for you.
I've got one for you.
Okay, I'll give you 2 then.
Okay.
I'll just give you 2. Everything's light and breezy here on Brokeback Bebop. It's okay. There's no expectations. What's on the man at the store's hat in the beginning of the episode?
Man at the store.
Like behind the counter.
Is it a pot leaf?
No, it's the sun.
The sun.
When Faye is like talking to the guy in the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't get that.
Yep.
Damn it.
Oh, it's okay.
Should have got that.
What does the man holding Faye captive call her in relation to cards?
Oh, is it Queen of Diamonds? Queen of Hearts?
Close. It's Queen of Hearts.
Queen of Hearts.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
And go ahead. Give me yours.
How much did Jet win on the slots?
Yeah, that's my last question, so I'm glad that I let you go.
Yeah.
200K at least.
Nice, yeah.
Nice. Good round of trivia. Good times.
Yeah. What do you think about this episode, Zach?
It's your turn to introduce a segment that you never know to do.
To be fair, this is my first time removed from when we invented the segment for me to know to do it.
Yeah, but you didn't do it then either.
That's fair. Here we're gonna now we're gonna go to one of my favorite segments, quickly becoming one of my favorite segments that we do here at Brokeback Bebop. We're gonna find out, did Zachary comprehend the episode this week?
Let me get that pronunciation of my name one more time.
Zachary.
It's with an S, isn't it? It's
Zachary.
Okay.
Zachary.
I like
Yeah.
it. It's not an all the time thing. I don't want you to be calling me that all the time.
No,
but
there's
I do
a time
like
and a place.
and I do acknowledge it.
Thank you.
I feel a
How
little.
you feeling?
Yeah.
You feeling good about this? You feel like you
I kind of
comprehended it?
I've kind of
Although-
thought about what I'm gonna say. What?
Based on a question you asked me while watching the episode, I don't know how well you comprehended it, Zach. I'm not
It was
sure.
just that one moment. It was just that one moment.
That you said out loud.
Sure. I feel like I have a pretty good idea of what I want to say, but it's
Okay.
more a matter of how fast and how not jumbled it's going to come out. And I have a little bit of I did really well last week.
Yeah.
So
the pressure's on.
The pressure is on. I feel like I've got to prove that I truly am better at everything than Steven.
Yeah, well, I keep the bar laughably low.
Romancing. What do you say?
I keep the bar laughably low.
That's fair. That is fair. So let me take a deep breath. Okay.
Okay. 3, 2, going on go, obviously.
I figured. Yeah.
3,
Yeah, because I know how to
2,
host a segment. Okay.
1,
okay.
go.
Meet Faye Valentine, a badass who can scam the poker table and can also handle a gun. She is kidnapped, and she also has a chip on her shoulder by a man who takes her to a space casino and has her looking for a mysterious chip, where she meets Jet and Spike and becomes their latest target. Meanwhile,
Time.
I didn't get to.
You know,
it comes up fast.
I appreciate the kind of tongue-in-cheek opening. But it took you like 11 seconds.
Sure.
And, you know, you got some good stuff about Faye.
Yeah.
I didn't really get much about Jet and Spike being in the
that's
casino
literally
or
what I was gonna say
any of
next, and I
that.
took too long.
Didn't get anything about the double cross.
That's fair. Yeah.
I think if I were just judging the first third of the episode,
Sure.
you would have done great, Zach.
Yeah, but I didn't.
I'm going to have to give that one. The opening was good, but you missed like most of the
A lot
episode.
of it. Sure.
Uh,
That's why I said it's got to come out fast and not jumbled, and it came
yeah,
out slow.
I'm going
and
to give
little
that one a
jumbled.
C-, Zach.
That's okay. I don't feel discouraged because I knew
No.
what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
And if I had gotten it all out, it would have been better.
Sure.
So I feel fine.
Well, good.
I feel good. You know what,
That's
Steven?
okay.
What did you think of the episode this week?
I love this episode.
Honky Tonk
I
women.
am a pretty big fan of any time we get to see the characters all together, because that's not an every episode thing. They live their own lives. They have their own lives before the Bebop. They aren't always working in tandem. They usually end up together.
The first time that, especially Jet, was a little bit more a part of the main events, which I liked.
Totally. I think I really like Jet in this episode. Also, that goddamn suit that he has on is too fresh to death. I
Yeah.
think it's always cool to see characters in different clothes.
Yeah.
And
Which
I think
is tough on the
especially
animators.
It is very tough. So I appreciate the different outfits. We get to see some different stuff for Faye eventually, which is cool. Speaking of Faye's outfit, it is like humanly impossible. Danny and I did like a Cowboy Bebop routine like last year.
And did you consider dressing similar to the characters?
We
And
did.
she was like, there's no way. You did do it, or you thought about it?
Well, we did do it. We did dress similar.
I have to go back and see it. I've seen the routine, but with no knowledge
Yeah.
of Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah, and I kind of wore like a spike shirt. I was going to do like the jacket and everything, but it was too hot. She wore like a yellow like romper.
Oh, yeah. I remember.
But it's kind of hard to like have anything hold itself together the way that hers does. I've seen cosplayers do it, but it's
Sure.
like...
It's hard to do that kind of dance and wear an outfit that only covers your nipples.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
But really
I've
cool
tried.
costume design. I think Faye is interesting because she checks a lot of the like stereotypical anime girl boxes in terms of, okay, she's attractive, she's super great shape, but she also is a little more real because Faye isn't this like perfect hot character. She's heavily flawed in a lot of ways, which makes her kind of cool. But
Here's what
yeah.
I'd like to say. I think I am pretty uncomfortable with the sexualization of cartoons. Not to the point where I'm like put off by it. And this show doesn't do it as heavy-handed as some others. And I'm not
Yeah.
saying like when cartoon characters have sex it really turns me off. But like when cartoon characters are supposed to be sexy, I think it makes me uncomfortable. However, there are enough other things about Faye that I find her pretty interesting. That she's got this chip on her shoulder, both like, I don't know. There's,
Yeah, I heard it in your review, Zach.
no, but did you notice how I said chip, like like a poker chip?
Oh!
Yeah, there's a moment when she's like in the wherever in the casino she's being like handcuffed by the one dude. It's just like a look on her face that I feel like says a lot of her just being like, we see in the beginning that she's such a badass and that she can get out of any jam, but here
Yeah.
she is, this like kind of damsel in distress against her will that is really feeling unhappy with what she's put into. I did like the character more than I expected to going into the episode.
You know, Zach, I didn't know you had this aversion to deep down feelings for 2D women.
I just feel like it's I don't know, it's just not real, and it's weird to because like, what do you picture having sex with it? It's not real, it's a drawing.
You know what, Zach? I think we're done here.
And this brings up a question that I did want to ask you.
This is why nobody watches AOL
our
Blast.
drug usage on this week's episode of Brokeback Bebop, so I'm just gonna lay it on you straight, okay? Have you ever masturbated to a cartoon character?
Absolutely.
Oh no,
Zach, I have an actual hentai within arm's reach.
I figured that was going to be the answer, but I was so
I
not
have
ready for the confidence
This
behind that.
right
Oh,
next to
no.
my computer. Right, do
So
all
you're
my work.
so now you're telling me you've masturbated to that action figure.
No. I'm not into that. I think that'd be a little weird because it's too close in proximity. It's too real. Also, it's 3D, which loses all the effect for me. 2D or nothing.
I don't think I'm especially. I don't know. I'm not here to kink shame anybody. I think whatever you're into is whatever you're into, and that's cool. It's just a personal thing. I have
Sure.
a gap with it, and it makes me a little uncomfy.
Sure.
What else can we talk
It's
about
not
the
something I
episode?
do on a regular basis, I'll say.
Steven, what are
Anymore.
things
But-
you noticed from this week's episode that are things we should hold on to for future
I
weeks?
think the music this week really, really stands out. The songs that they use all really are varied. We get a little bit more like traditional jazz. It's kind of alluded to when Jet references Charlie Parker early in the episode, so he has a dream about Charlie Parker.
I know who
quoting-
Charlie
I don't
Parker
know who the
is.
guy is that he's talking about, but
You know who Charlie Parker is? Gaucho was the other name, maybe? Or was that later?
That's later. Gaucho is Romney for a bumpkin who doesn't know which way is up.
Yeah, I didn't know that word.
I should have made that a trivia question.
Charlie Parker. That
Yeah,
would
Charlie
be
Parker.
unfair.
Birdman. Well, clearly you never watched My Big Fat Greek Wedding, or My Big Fat Gypsy Wedding on TLC.
I sure didn't. One of my favorite bands as of late, Sparks, has a really good song called When I Kiss You, I Hear Charlie Parker Playing.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
I like Charlie Parker. I like a lot of the songs that were written inspired by Charlie Parker, more than I probably like a lot of Charlie Parker's actual recordings himself. But he's one of the best saxophone players of all time. Now, in terms of like other things in the episode that I think are important.
Yes.
Oh, talking about the music. That's what I was doing.
Yeah.
So they kind of vary a lot. We've had a lot of the more kind of funny enough honky tonk type of music with a lot of twang and harmonica used so far. So this
In
is
the
kind
first
of getting
episode
into the
especially.
more actual bebop jazz music, which is really cool. The song that plays during the big climactic fight scene is one of my favorites in like the whole series. I think that one's really good.
Let's talk about that fight sequence for a second, since we're kind of having an amorphous conversation on it. I like and don't like different... And I never really said... I did like this episode quite a bit. I think the episode we talk about next week, I liked even more. I might have liked last week's Iron Origin a hair better than this one. Mm-hmm. But I like that this episode starts to build a little bit of serialization for the show, where I'm a little bit more intrigued. Because in the end of the episode, my thought was... Wait, obviously, I thought in the beginning this is the episode where Faye becomes a part of the group. And in the end, she gets away. So I was a little bit like, well, what's going to happen? This was the first episode of the show where I thought, what's going to happen? Because I know that she's a part of the group. I kind of like her character a little bit. And I want to see what happens next with her. But back to the fight sequence, I like and don't like some of the things that this episode does with the laws of space in the show. I like that this action sequence is different because instead of taking place on land or in ship, it's taking place like outside in outer space. Mm-hmm. But a couple of things I thought Spike's, I know it's Spike's spacesuit that he walks around in near the end of the episode. I feel like the rules of that are kind of silly.
How? It's very clearly has an on-off gravity magnetization thing on his feet.
Yeah, and I think that's silly. Steven's like, what?
It's better than a fucking tether that we use now.
Yeah, but at least like I don't know. I just thought that was kind of silly. I'm sorry. I'm allowed to have opinions.
Well, in what way is it silly, Zach? I'm missing the
fact that he can be out in space. He's not wearing anything that like propels him. He just kind of Carrie Fisher Last Jedi like force goes near
what's
another
wrong
surface.
with that? That's the best part
then
of all
it goes,
Star Wars, buddy.
Boop, and now he can walk around outside in space, around on a spaceship just fine. Also, wait, I could be wrong. Now I'm just going on a tangent. I wasn't paying this close attention. They're having a fight on a ship outside in space. Are the other characters wearing those suits? I don't think they were.
There's only two characters that are outside.
And it's the bad guy, but isn't he just wearing like his stuff? Like his
No, he has on a whole ass spacesuit.
That's why I said I'm going on a tangent and I wasn't 100%
Yeah, the actual
sure.
bad guy was inside the ship in the like driver's room.
I don't know. I just think a little bit that I liked, like I said, I liked that it was a different type of action sequence because it was in a different area with different rules of the world, but a little bit the like walking around outside in space. I feel like there's not a lot of, other than when he's like propelling himself, there's not a lot of like, we're out in space and we're kind of floating around and stuff. But I liked the episode. I feel like I've made you mad anytime that I've brought up a qualm.
Well, if you had a good one, maybe I'd...
Well, by the end of it, you were like, yeah, okay, sure. Or were you just saying that so I'd
here's
stop
what I'll
talking?
agree with. They don't really use the physics in space. that they could have.
There's even a moment in the next episode that I'm sure we'll talk about where they're like, didn't you pay attention to physics? Because of this, this can't happen. And I don't think it's like real. And not saying that I can't totally, like, obviously I know it's a cartoon and it's a sci-fi, so it's going to be different. But like I've complimented the show in the past, it is pretty like, it feels tangible for being a sci-fi Western, kind of. Like, obviously it's a different world, but I can kind of see our world within it.
Yeah.
And moments like that felt a little bit more like cartoony, but not too bad. Not too bad. It's still grounded, and that's what I like about it.
You know what, Zach? In 100 years, when I have my bright cherry red spacesuit and I'm walking around on the outside of my ship, I'm going to call you. I'm going to be like, hey, Zachary, look at this. Yeah, I'm going to press my little beep boop button that looks like the Buzz Lightyear sticker, and I'm going to go zero gravity.
No problem. We've got a couple minutes left. What are you thinking that we need to talk about? Oh, I wanted to say that this episode has some James Bond vibes, not just because of the casino. And I've never seen a James Bond film, so I'm speaking out of my ass. Not just because of the casino, but because of the villain. The villain kind of seems like a Bond villain to me in this one. Mm-hmm. And Spike kind of seems not like James Bond, but like his scene at the table with Faye seems a little Bondian.
Yeah, so especially when they have the dialogue where he's like, you were cheating that whole time and I didn't out you. Because he was like one step ahead of her.
And then immediately everyone in the casino was like, cheater, pumpkin eater, cheater, everybody, you guys. And everyone's like up in arms.
Hey, you guys, we
not
got
that
cheat over
they
here.
Wouldn't be upset over that, but it was funny. I thought it was funny that I didn't notice it until watching it with you. I didn't notice it the first time that the people playing blackjack in the beginning were the same old guys from the first episode that you mentioned would show up. So I did like that they do show up. They're just people that inhabit the world. It's not like, oh, there's those silly guys again. It is kind of like, I can see why I missed it the first time. Because they don't make a meal out of it being the same guys.
No, not at all.
Which I like. What about you, Steven? What do you want to bring up yet?
I like this episode. I think it's a good introduction for Faye. And I like the idea of the casino they create. It's kind of cool, the space casino.
I do think that it looks like a roulette thing on the outside is a little silly.
Oh, fuck you, Zach.
I like the idea of, and speaking of The Last Jedi, this totally has some Finn and Rose, Tico, space
I'm pretty sure they
casino
stole
adventure.
that whole idea from this episode of television, Zach.
But what I do like about it, which The Last Jedi doesn't do, is it's a little on the nose that it's actually a roulette wheel on the outside.
Well,
but
how else are you supposed to know if you're just flying through space? If I see something that's like a warehouse...
They could have a sign that says casino still.
Oh, I'm going to believe that? If I don't see a spinny ball on a black and red board, how the fuck am I supposed to know what it is?
I like the idea of this amorphous spaceship-looking thing that on the inside is a functioning casino. I like seeing Jet and Spike in the elevator, and it obviously goes a bunch of different ways to figure out. I also liked a little bit seeing more of the mechanics of the spaceship. I don't quite understand what it does for the ship, but in the part where Faye is... I've really enjoyed the conversation we've had on this episode. We didn't really talk about a lot of stuff.
You know, they get it.
But this is fun. I liked the part where there's the two like rotating things.
Yeah.
When Faye is trying to escape and she's trying to get from one to one.
I
don't
think
exactly
those are
get
like
what
the
those are
gravity
for.
stabilizers.
Yeah, that just sounds like silly nonsense words. What does that mean?
It's like what keeps there being gravity inside the ship.
But why does it have to be these two big mouse wheel things?
Well, because they rotate and they stabilize, Zach.
Okay.
I
But
can't
there
do it
was
with
no
my hands,
boop,
but
so I didn't quite get what was going on. What should we bring up before we move on? We're almost done here.
we got to talk about our who's the captain of the who gets to sit in the captain's chair this
That's
week.
a good point, and I didn't put as much thought into it as I wanted to. I did remember, but I didn't quite. I don't know. The show, while being character driven, like each character kind of plays their part equally, other than Spike being kind of the main character. Mm-hmm. It was hard for me to come up with... Let me hear what you've got first, and I'll kind of think on it.
Well, I want to give a very big honorable mention to Jet, because that suit is too flame. I like
It's good
Jet's
to see
episode.
more of him in the episode.
Yeah.
But he's still like in the background, kind of.
Because Jet is really close to my favorite character in this whole show. Mm-hmm. We get a lot more Jet later on, and when you learn his backstory, I think a lot more of him makes sense.
Nice.
You do learn that he was a former cop in this episode.
You know, I didn't pick that up specifically other than him kind of hinting that there's more, like you've hinted at, there's more to the relationship between bounty hunters and police than what is outright told to us. I did not get that. I didn't comprehend that.
He said that he used to be a dog for the ISSP.
I asked Lily, is the ISSP the police? And Lily said no.
Lily doesn't know the name of the fucking outro song.
That was nice. I'll call out Lily before we wrap up the program. You know the song, if you're listening and you watch the show with us. I've only watched 3-4 episodes now, and the song at the end of the episode, the real folk blues, and Lily was singing it and said the real soul blues. And I was like, you fucking small, sad, disgusting person.
I'm going to give my captain's chair this week to Spike Spiegel. Super cool throughout the episode. He Wu-Tang the blunt. All good.
Those were blunts. Those aren't just thin cigars. You think like you?
No. Spike was smoking a cigarette there that he.
They look like they're smoking blunts this whole episode. Faye in the beginning.
Faye definitely had a blunt in the beginning.
Well, I don't know because she bought it from that guy at the store. From in a cigar box.
Yeah, but it was also at an herbal medication store.
Okay. Well, maybe it's herbs and medication. Weed is not medication. It's a drug. It's a hard drug that should be treated as such.
Thanks,
that
Ronald
should
Reagan.
be your takeaway from the podcast. I think because of a small but mighty thing, I'm going to give it to Ein this episode because you can trust Ein's judgment. Ein isn't sure about Faye and makes it clear. Yeah. And for an animated dog, I really do think the expression is great.
I agree.
And I do think this is an episode where everyone kind of plays their part. And I like to step away from giving it to the main character unless I'm really blown away by them. And so far, I've found Spike to be not the most interesting of main characters. Kind of.
Sure. Okay. David told a lot about him. We hope you're enjoying this. We hope you're liking what we're doing here.
I'm liking doing it. I thought this one was really fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I love this.
Usually when we podcast, I'm miserable, but this has been fun.
I'm only going to drink a little bit afterwards.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for hanging out with us. Next week, we'll be back to talk about some monkey diseases, to talk about mommy. I'm really excited. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I'm excited to dive into that one.
I don't think there's anything to say, but
the real soul blues.
At the end of this episode, it doesn't say "See you, Space Cowboy." It says "Easy come, easy go."
Easy go.
So that's what we'll leave you with. Goodbye, everybody.
Easy come, easy go.
We'll see you next week.
愛してたと嘆くにはあまりにも時は過ぎてしまったまだ心のほころびを癒せぬまま風が吹いてる乾いた瞳で誰か泣いてくれ
Thanks for listening. Support this show and our podcast network at patreon.com/can'tdisappointpodcast, where starting at $5 a month, you can get immediate access to all 40 outrageous sessions of Brokeback Bebop. See you next time, Space Cowboy.